Welcome back, everybody, to the Prayin and Slayin Podcast. Today we have an awesome episode where I reached out to Hunter Alsip, who had an awesome buck, great starlit background for his grip and grin picture, and I just wanted to hear the story about his buck, and he's like, actually, man, my wife killed a way bigger one, and it might have a way better story behind it, so we got them both on. This is our first ever husband-wife episode, so we have Hunter and Megan Alsip, and I'm stoked to get them on, learn a little bit about them and their life, how they got brought up in hunting, how they met each other, all that cool stuff, and then jump into some awesome deer stories. I don't know how you guys want to divvy this up, but Hunter, I'll give you the humble card, man. I reached out to you about your deer because you popped up in the feed and you're like, dude, my wife got a way bigger deer, way better story, so we got to bring her on. So however you guys want to split that, wide open to it.
For starters, I grew up a upland bird hunter with my father. That was what we did. We hunted grouse, quail, pheasant. And then as time went on, he started getting into turkey hunting. So I got real into that with him. And that's kind of how we identified we were turkey hunters. And about the time I was 10, I started getting really fascinated with deer. And my father didn't deer hunt. So I just kind of started getting into it myself and killed my first deer when I was 12, which ended up being a 140-inch 8-pointer. And
that's your first one.
Oh, yeah. And to say I was hooked from that moment on would be an understatement.
That's awesome.
Very passionate about the outdoors. I mean, that's pretty much my identity. Of course, I have a day job like most people do to fund my hobby, but I love going to other states and hunting quite a bit around here.
Very cool, man.
I did not grow up hunting. My family did. My brother, my dad, my grandpa. But it was more of a guy thing, so I was never allowed to go. So when I was old enough to do it myself, I got a job at Cabela's while I was in nursing school, and I had a good friend that took me hunting, and I killed my first deer when I was 21 with a muzzleloader. It was not a 140-inch 8-pointer. It was a 80-inch 6-point.
Hey, all deer are good deer in my camp, man. If you can put a tag on it, it's a good deer.
I was hooked after that. My first year hunting, I killed my first buck, muzzleloader season. So that was January. Killed a turkey, killed a coyote, and then I think a couple more deer the following season. So it was a very good first year hunting.
Yeah, I'd say. That's awesome. So were you 21 when you jumped into hunting, or was that just the age you finally got your first one? Okay.
Nope, that was the first time.
There. That's crazy. And you jumped right. I mean, you've dove head first into it. So is it something like watching, just replaying your background, like watching the guys do it? Was it something you just kind of had an interest in growing up and just, you said the words not allowed to go. So I don't know how that dynamic maybe worked.
It was just thought of more of a guy thing.
Earn your right of, okay. So like the family was like, guys go hunting, ladies do something different. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I grew up, I was a cheerleader. It was like, stay in your lane. Like, you do your thing, we'll do ours. And I don't mean to sound like that. Like it probably wasn't as bad as I say, but.
Well, no, it's not an uncommon thing, right? So like, my wife, she's very much, I want to be doing what you're doing type thing, and not like, hey, if we go somewhere or if we're going on some trip somewhere, it's not guys, this, ladies, that. So I get the dynamic. I was more curious, I guess, on like if it's something you just didn't really have an interest in and somewhere, maybe meeting Hunter, like it piqued your interest later in life, or if it was just something that you kind of had an interest in, it just wasn't like,
no, I had an interest
to break that ice.
I had an interest. It just was, my brother took me a couple times, but like, my dad took my brother all the time when we were growing up, and that was their thing. So it was not my thing until I was able to do it by myself. And I had a girl friend that was a big hunter. Her and her husband would hunt all the time, and they took me down to their farm and kind of introduced me. But Hunter and I did not meet for years after that.
Yeah. Her hunting was actually one of the things that piqued my interest in her.
Oh, you found her Instagram profile, saw she hunted, and you slid into her DMs, and is that the love story, or how did this work?
So I guess to make the long story short, I was in a previous relationship, and I was actually introduced to her through a mutual friend via social media, Facebook to be exact. Which at the time, it was just, here's a girl in our area that hunts and shoots competition archery. Fast forward a few years later, I ended up going through divorce, and one of the first comments from my friend when I told him the news that I was getting divorced wasn't, oh, I hope you're okay, or, how are you doing? He just immediately said, well, are you going to hit Megan up?
And I had no idea who he was at this time.
We had not met at that point.
No idea who
That's
he
awesome.
was.
So that actually, my divorce got finalized in April. Anyways, I was turkey hunting. I ran down to Tennessee. Their season opens early. I went down 3 weekends in a row. I took a buddy the first weekend. Beautiful opening weekend. He got a beautiful tom on opening day. I had a gun malfunction, which was kind of the story of my Tennessee hunting that year. I ended up having just incident after incident, but plenty of opportunity. But one great thing that came of that was I'm posting all these cool stories of turkey hunting weeks before Ohio season, and I did the old trying to slide into the DMs, and definitely piqued her interest that somehow I was turkey hunting already. So that's kind of how the communication started, and then we went on a date and we went turkey hunting together that year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was.
I don't like where this is going.
So
new girlfriend. You should probably be just a little more patient in the turkey hunting. And to keep a long story short on that, I definitely shot a turkey out from underneath of her.
Oh yeah.
which I almost broke up with them.
It was a rough start to the relationship.
Awesome.
At the moment you go deaf. And you don't hear the little things in the background like, don't shoot, there's another one, let me get on it, hold on, don't shoot. But it's a funny story now.
Yeah, funny.
That's awesome.
Well, honestly, that's kind of how you decided that I was actually a hunter, because.
And I was very, very happy because it was kind of the proof of concept.
Yeah,
so,
you had to put her you had to test it. Yeah, because if you wouldn't have got matched, you're like, oh, it's okay.
Can you actually go up and down these hills chasing these turkeys? And she can.
Well, and then you shot your bird, and I was still after that other one and crawled through a field of
cow manure.
Yeah.
That's crazy. No, I've definitely been in the cow manure situation. My first Miriam that I got in Montana. I put in way too much work for a bird that I probably could have walked up to and shot point blank, because basically they're farm birds. It was the first year it was like one of 3 tags or 5 tags or something like that they draw for this unit, and now it's since been opened to pretty much anybody can get a tag for Region 4. But anyway, I belly crawled in the rain through a bunch of cow manure, and I didn't have to. I didn't realize it until I left my vinyl harness actually back at this tree when I was trying to do this super sneaky stalk. I get back with the bird in the truck after it all played out. The farmer drives up with a bucket of corn to feed his cattle, and the birds just literally followed him around the farm. Like, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I spent 3 hours in the rain crawling through poop to do this. But anyway, it worked out. But I've been there. And then I don't know if you guys have listened to, you need to go back and listen to our Bailey Palmer. I can't remember her last name now, but from NWTF, formerly of NWTF. Her stories about hunting with her husband are exactly the same, but reverse roles. Bailey shoots the turkeys out from under her husband every time, and they're still together. So I think that's a good way to connect with your spouse is don't worry about shooting birds out from under. At least one of you walked home with a tag filled. That's the important thing, I think.
No, I didn't live it down for a little while. That's for sure.
You probably still aren't.
Yeah.
So
hey, there you go.
It was a great hunt too. It was one of those. Birds were locked up, not doing well, and we're leaving. We're in the truck. We got to get to Easter dinner, and right before we left the public land, looked over and, well, there's a couple. So I'll always remember that hunt. And I'll tell
An
you,
Easter hunt to boot. That's awesome.
I talked to a lot of people that would love to have a hunting spouse. And as lovely as it is, I will forewarn you that then when it comes time to having little kids and the spouse wants to hunt as much as you do, all of a sudden there starts to become some trading back and forth. And
That's
that
actually, I'm
dictates a lot
glad
of
you brought
our,
that up. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, man. That was a question I had.
we so we do a lot of deer hunting, obviously, and where we are, so we're southwestern Ohio, so we're in great deer country, but we hunt what I would consider a bunch of small properties. We live on 20 acres that I always say hunts more like 8. We hunt my father's land, which is 12 acres that hunts more like 6. We hunt 5 acres that hunts like 20. Just small chunks. I do have a lease nearby that's 120 acres, but only 15 acres of it is timbered. The rest is just open field. But most of it's close by. So in the early season, we can take turns. I get off work, I'll watch the girl, she can hunt, or vice versa. And then weekends.
It's not easy. It's hard. We had our first daughter at the end of March, the 23. So of course, turkey season's right after that. And I wasn't willing to give up turkey hunting, but I also didn't want to leave my baby. So the first time that we went turkey hunting together, because you had went a couple times.
Yeah.
By yourself, and me, I'm jealous. So we left our daughter, and it was not a good hunt. I cried the whole time. It was just not good. I got over it, but yeah, it makes it hard. And then our second daughter, we didn't plan very well, and she was born
on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, on Thanksgiving.
You guys literally split the spectrum. That's yeah.
Also, not willing to give up hunting, and he felt guilty. So I'm out there 9 months pregnant hunting. I was hunting the night that I went into labor.
Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Which he has been great. He has set me up all kinds of spots that I could actually hunt while I was pregnant. So
I was a very mobile hunter, even though I'm hunting small properties. I try not to, you can wear a small property out very quick. And sometimes switching trees, even though you're only 30 yards away, can make a big difference if you have a marginal wind. Because if you spook them on these small properties, you're gambling. They might not come back. And it kind of changed a lot. We started hunting one property, kind of a sketchy stand. It's not the most ideal thing in the world. She couldn't hunt out of that pregnant. So instead, there was a old hand dug well that the previous owner would hunt out of. So we dug that back out, and it's so close to the road. If it wasn't for the trees, you would duck when cars would drive by, so they wouldn't see you.
But it's turned out to be one of our favorite spots.
It's one of the most productive spots we have. It works out so well.
It's great when we actually get to hunt together.
Yeah.
Which is few and far between anymore, but
yeah. That's wild.
And then, just little things like that. We changed a little bit just to accommodate. That way my 9-month pregnant wife isn't trying to climb up into these old hang-on tree stands I used to run around with. So. Yeah,
man, it's a different ball game for sure. My wife, she's a hunter because I hunt. She grew up in a house where her dad hunted, and that was pretty much it. He'd go out and do his shotgun season in Iowa, bring deer home in the backyard, hang them on the swing set, whatever. So she remembers that. But then when she started dating me, same thing. Like I was a huge hunter. I'd go out hunting and whatever, and she'd come with me. So I got her in. She hasn't got a deer with a bow yet, but she was sitting in my stand that I always hunted like growing up. This one property, gold mine stand during the rut, deer are going to come by there. She came to full draw on a buck. I wasn't there to see it, but that got her actually like hooked on hunting for the first time. She was like, "Oh, I get it. I get why you do this now." Didn't get a shot off, but she got the feels out of it. And then we tried we're military. So my she's active duty military now. I'm out now. But we went to Virginia. She went hunting with me like 1 or 2 times, muzzleloader season. Nothing came out. We were just basically overwatching fields and stuff, and nothing would come out when she was with me. And then we went to Montana. That's where she finally broke the ice, got her first deer to really settle in on it. But yeah, and then fast forward through Montana, we were there for 5 years. She was pregnant with our first kiddo. And yeah, I've got pictures of her like just hogged out, snoozing, laying on her back, hands on her big belly, like while I'm glassing, for mule deer. And then we ended up doubling up while she was pregnant on antelope, pronghorn, which was really cool. But same thing, she's just so uncomfortable. She's laying out there. We're basically like 200 yards from these pronghorn, and they're bedded down. We're waiting for them to stand up. And she's just doing everything she can to like stay comfortable throughout the day. And I'm just like, all right, we'll hang out 30 more minutes. Finally, they stand up. Long story short, we end up doubling, which was the most awesome thing in the world. But yeah, after that, she hasn't been back out since, but now she's in a whole different season right now. You mentioned you were a nurse. Are you still a nurse? You said you were
I stay home with your girls now.
Okay, so stay home. Did you? She was a nurse as well. She's going for her DNP right now. So we're stationed in Texas for her like clinical rotation on that. Yeah, so she hasn't been hunting in probably 3 years now, but either way, excited to get her out there, and she's any day now. It could happen while we're on this podcast. Any day now, we got our second one on the way, so we're just kind of bags are packed, waiting on that clock to tick, I guess. So, but yeah, man, it's a wild thing getting a lady into hunting who's like you got into it. It sounds like on your own, like you were ready. You met Hunter at the right time. You guys meshed lives, and like I'm sitting here going, okay, like how do I get my wife more into hunting? Like, is there something I could do better? But honestly, I think it's more of a time thing. She loves going, but the kid question is what I was going to ask. And you guys like share shifts, almost like babysitting, kind of when one goes hunting and the other. Like I'm like sitting over here also in that camp of a guy who has a wife who like kind of does it because I do it, but she also likes it. But I don't think she would like out compete me to like stay home with the boys while I go hunting at the same time. So this is like a wild world. I'm wondering if there's something I can do to like maybe, hey, how do we get a babysitter so we can both go hunting? Like that would be the best case scenario. Do you guys like have parents that live nearby, or is this like you guys totally have to take shifts?
We do. My mom still works, and I have nieces that she watches, and I'm blessed enough that I get to stay home. So we don't always get to have somebody. More times than not, we don't, but they are willing.
My mother fills in when she can. She's actually downstairs watching our girls so we can do this.
Oh, there you go. No, that's even better, man. That's awesome. So Hunter, what do you do? So nursing, now stay home. So, and what do you do?
So I manage all the back end operations of a chain of car dealerships. So basically anything that's not with sales.
Okay.
So service, parts, body shop. I got 9 dealerships that I manage.
Sorry, I'm taking those over here. I'm going to connect you up with a buddy of mine. Ken Graham is his name. We'll probably pull this out of the podcast. But anyway, my buddy Ken Graham, awesome dude. I'll connect you up with him. He's been working in car dealerships like his whole professional career, and now him and another guy have started this like AI thing. I'll let them pitch it to you, but it could be something where exactly what you do is like what this is, and it might be something you could get involved in to help out your dealerships if you're already kind of in the management section of that. But that's a whole different conversation. I'm just like connecting dots over here. But yeah, dude, that's cool. So you do that, and is that like a day job? You go into the office, come back, or is that you work from home, or how does that work?
No, it's I've worked with that company pretty much my entire life. My father worked for that same auto group. So basically a normal day for me, I'm leaving in the morning, starting my day at the first office around 7. And typically I make my rounds through the various dealerships throughout the day. And typically I'm coming home, around 4:30. I've kind of weaseled that over the couple of years. I'm, supposed to be there till about 5, but especially that early season deer hunting, getting that extra half hour really makes a big difference. And my closest
I'm
office,
working late tonight, aka I'm going to the stand.
my closest office is about 20 minutes from my house, so it works out.
Okay.
Um, but it's also, you know, it's nice. I have a bunch of employees, and a lot of them also, you know, hunt, and I get to talk to them. A lot of them are very interested. You know, they want the daily updates on the, you know, they want to see the trail camera pictures. They want to tell me what they got, and it's nice. You know, I like it. It's like these little moments of the day that I can kind of leave the auto industry for a moment and just think about the things I love.
Yeah, man, that's pretty incredible. But it's I don't know. I feel like so I worked at Taxicam for 10 years, and once I did that, it's kind of that. For me, it was just a weird like cycle of events that just one thing led to another, and next thing you know, I'm working for this company, and then they exponentially explode and all that stuff. And it was just like one of those things. I remember one of the sales guys said it like probably my third or fourth year in. He's like, dude, this is the coolest thing ever. I went from working at Coca-Cola to working for the hunting industry, and now I have how did he say? He said it like I have I've never had more time to hunt less, is what he said. Like, working in the outdoors world, like it's such a weird thing. And then I talked to several guests, I think, on here that maybe have been outdoor industry affiliated or whatever. And it's like the closer you are to the industry, like it almost starts detrimentally affecting your ability to just enjoy hunting, because it's kind of, you're almost too exposed to it. And then like, it doesn't matter like how busy you are, you're never hunting enough, because all you see in all your algorithms is like how much people are hunting and how much people are doing. So like, it kind of makes you almost wish you had like a different job sometimes, because you're kind of like, okay, if I could get away from this just a little bit, then I could, maybe enjoy my hunting experience again. But you have to, it makes you have to force yourself to remember why you like hunting, if that makes any sense. It's a weird
I can
deal.
only imagine. I've thought about it over the years. I mean, there was a time, I don't know if you remember this or not, but way back in the day when Tacticam was first, starting, or at least starting to be well known, they just had the 2 or 3 different versions of a point of view action camera. And way back then, I was on a pro staffer, and you were my point of contact. Which I say,
AKA, I saw your deer post.
Yeah.
And you're one of the guys I look at and I go, gosh darn it, I'm not in the tree stand. Scroll.
Which way back then I thought, well, first off, I thought I was this, big buck assassin, first off. But secondly, I thought I wanted to film my hunts. And I got real into that for 3 or 4 years. And I will tell you, it ruined it for me. And it wasn't until I quit and I gave all the camera stuff away that I got back into it. I mean, it's tough. I respect, especially the guys that are out there self-filming their stuff. I have all the respect in the world for those guys, because it is not easy.
No, definitely not. And it's wild, dude. And that camera brand, I don't know if you're have been following it at all, but like so Tacticam has since sold the point of view camera off to a company called MaxView Optics. Same kind of parent company that owns Killer Instinct crossbows. Anyway, I've been kind of working with them a little bit on the back end, flirting with the idea of maybe getting back into it. But it's anyway, they've revitalized the point of view camera brand, which is awesome to see. And yeah, as far as like making it easy to film your hunt, it's one thing, but I'm right there in that same boat with you, dude. The whole reason I thought this was a great idea was I was like, yeah, man, I want to be the next, Lee and Tiffany. And then I saw the very first time I saw like a Lee and Tiffany contract on paper, I'm like, I don't want to be the next Lee and Tiffany. Like, absolutely not, man. Like, not a chance do I want to make that much of a business. And it's wild how much of a business it really is behind the scenes, But I will say this, getting a chance, like I go back and look at, I told you my wife killed her first deer in Montana, and we've got that start to finish from me unpacking the stuff out of the trunk of her Buick to us hiking across the field, her shooting that deer, the whole pack out, breaking down the meat, everything coming back. And it's my son watches the video. He's 4. He loves watching mommy kill her first deer now. And it's just like, This is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life, is like going back and just reliving those memories. So if you want to do it, I would say to anybody out there, do it for that reason alone. Get your own memories on if you want to film or just photography or whatever. Get your memories on camera. put them in a photo album or put them on YouTube, but make a self YouTube channel or wherever you want to store these videos, Vimeo, whatever. But it is the coolest thing you can do to like have those memories on film. And like, especially a couple like you guys, you got two little girls at home and now you got, mom and dad that are both obsessed with hunting, like be able to like show these stories on top of tell them. It's like, it's a wild thing. And I've got photos on my phone of my boy watching mom on YouTube on like on TV and stuff. It's just like, he loves it. It's the coolest thing. And now he's running around the house with his pretend shotgun and shooting the mounts on the wall and, whatever every single day. And so like, I'm counting the days till he gets to go out there, and we've gone squirrel hunting together. Got a couple squirrels that day, and that's now my favorite videos. Like my boy, like us out there, I killed a couple squirrels with the air gun. He's holding them up all proud, so get into it for those reasons if you're filming your hunts, I'd say, and then let the rest just grow from there, man. It's a cool thing.
We've had a couple situations now where we were able to film each other, not production quality stuff, but great for the memories.
Yeah.
Her deer this year that we'll tell you about. I was able to take just a very emotional recovery video on that. I took a video when you were pregnant with our second daughter, extended gun season in Ohio. I was filming her in the well. She shot a deer. Maybe it was. Timelines mix up over time, but
one time I was pregnant.
Yeah, she was pregnant. We were deer hunting. We know that. But
yeah.
We had two does come into the field. She shot. I was able to film it, and the other one stayed. So I did the old throw the phone on the ground, and she handed the gun off, and we ended up doubling up. Well, apparently now phones are so smart that when it covered the camera lens, it flipped to the other camera. So it actually made for a really cool video.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah. But whatever kid that was you were pregnant with, we'll be able to show him that one day.
That's so cool.
Well, and also speaking of him getting to work and I get to stay home, you guys both have a job. And how tough is it when you're at work and you get a trail camera picture of your buck? Now tell me how much worse it's going to be when you're at the house and it's in the backyard and you have two little kids.
Yeah.
Although,
I do have, I got some pictures. She was Snapchatting me one day. When we just had the one child, she put her in the hiking backpack, and went back. I told her she should go back there and rattle. And
I think I was pregnant.
and had a baby on your back. And she didn't even have to rattle. The buck actually crossed the trail. She's seen it. Which did it catch a glimpse of you or something?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was almost perfect.
It got curious that it closed the distance, and the child on the back, when it seen the deer, decided to announce that it can see the deer. So I'm at work, so I'm getting this all in Snapchat series, and
it didn't work out. I didn't shoot that deer, but that was one of my favorite hunts. I mean, I say hunts, but I just I ran in the backyard, but it was awesome. I can't wait until they're older and they can go with us. And we also have a 2-year-old that walks around with her shotgun shooting our mounts.
It's the best feeling ever. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like when I became a dad, I guess I was like, I don't know. I've never been somebody, I guess, that just like had a vision of what my kid was going to grow up to be. I don't know. It's just like, okay, let's one day at a time, let's make this happen. And, but the day he first started like talking about deer, I was like, okay. And so we're like, let's set that YouTube algorithm a little bit, like on TV, and we'll watch this. And then we're stationed in Montana, or excuse me, he was born in Montana. We moved to Maryland. And in Maryland, like we lived like 12 miles as a crow flies pretty much from DC. But like, if you step out our back door, you couldn't tell you were in the middle of like this metropolis. You could hike for 3 or 4 miles. Pretty much there was like a lake back there and all timber and whatever. So we had timber right out our back door. So he got real familiar with deer and foxes and, all the different things that run through the backyard really quick. And same thing, trail cameras all the time. I'm showing him all the trail camera pictures every morning. What did we miss last night? All this. And the backpack stuff, that was kind of the funnest part. Is the same thing. Kelty backpack, got them tossed in there. We'd hike these trails. We'd go to the lake and back every, like through the night when mom was studying or whatever. And the deer out there, like they they know when you're hunting them, and they know when you're just being like an innocent hiker walking through the woods. So if you like, but anyway, his favorite thing was spotting deer. He got to the point where he'd see him before I would. And same thing, he'd just start shouting, deer, 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 you know, and it's like, I can imagine trying to like actually put on a stock with that. But yeah, I don't know. It's neat when you watch your kid just kind of like slowly pick these things up, and it's just, you're just living your life, and they're just picking up the little nuggets you leave on the ground, I guess. And if it's something that interests them, it's a cool thing. And now his favorite YouTube channel is, if you want to look it up, what is it? It's Iguana Solutions with Iguana Jessica or something like that.
Yeah.
Long story. It's iguana hunting on YouTube. And it's this chick that runs around and shoots iguanas with air guns, and he loves it. Like, he'll watch it for hours, and he watches it for about 5 minutes, runs outside, hunts all these iguanas, comes back in, and it's like a daily routine around here now. It's Iguana Jessica. But yeah, it's so cool kind of watching just your kids like naturally pick that up. And it's, you know, for me, yes, both, you kind of said it, you both were, you know, you both got into hunting on your own. You didn't have a family that got you into it or whatever. Your family hunted, Megan, but like, you still kind of got there on your own. And then Hunter, you were the guy that just got into deer hunting on your own. And I was that guy in my family. Like, I don't know, we got cable once upon a time, and I started watching the hunting channel and never looked back. I was like, this is cool. I want to do this. So for me, I was the hunter in my family. And, but then watching your kids just like naturally pick that up, it's pretty cool to, I don't know, to see how the tradition follows down the apples don't fall far from the tree, I guess is what they say. So pretty neat.
My only fear with it, and I feel like a lot of people struggle with this, but you know, I contribute a lot of my success in hunting is that I taught myself. I learned myself. I didn't have like a good friend of mine. His whole family were deer hunters. You sit in these ladder stands. You know, you sit in this stand. You kill the buck here. And I think it created some bad habits. I mean, he only recently started learning, you know, hey, wind, hey, thermals, you know, quit sitting that stand. You know, you've destroyed that stand is blown out for the year, or that stand will never work when you guys actually sit in it because there is no successful wind to hunt that stand. Which he's come a long ways now, but I fear with my own children is that I'm going to try to do all the legwork and then just put them in the perfect spot. And I worry that if you take all of that out of it, then it's not going to be fun, or it's not going to be this huge challenge. So it's like, even though my girls are young, I'm already trying to prep in my head how I make for sure I don't make it too easy for them.
See, and I'm kind of on the opposite end because, you know, I was a girl growing up that didn't get to go, and now I have two girls, and I'm excited that they get to go and that they're interested, and I see both sides of it.
Yeah, and I think I can see both sides of it. So I'm, you know, to your point, Hunter, like, I'm also the guy that if I got myself into it, I got lucky enough, the property that it was like I dated this girl like in 6th grade or 7th grade. So our parents met, and then my dad and him ended up being business partners. But long story short, like, his dad had gotten old enough that he couldn't hunt anymore. And he had a tree stand on this piece of property. Well, it was like on the intersection of these two trails. What I learned over time of hunting it over and over and over, same tree stand every time, same walk in every time, is bucks came through there during the rut. If you hit it the right week of the rut, didn't matter what you did, I don't think. Like, they were just so fired up. But it was a doe corridor. And then the way that I look at it now a little bit differently, but the way probably the wind played and the creek ran down there and the separation of the different properties with bedding areas and food sources and different things, it was just kind of like the perfect scenario that you could hunt the same stand. And I wasn't hunting it like every single day. I'd get in there maybe a week here or 2 days here, 3 days there, you know, periodically. But I got enough experience under my belt in terms of just getting a chance to experience deer and see it play out and harvest. My best buck still to date is he's like a 145-inch buck with like an 8-inch drop tine, and just he's probably 8 or 9 years old. Just, again, lucky that a doe drug him by the stand is what happened with him. But either way, like, I just learned a lot in that situation. fast forward now is I know way too much about hunting that I don't get a really chance, like with the military lifestyle, like I don't get a chance to implement any of this knowledge that I feel like I could like lay out a property and say, okay, here's exactly how I'm going to hunt it, and here's why, and the winds and the thermals and all these different things. Like I just don't, especially the last 3 years, I feel like I've gotten more of an education curve with that through buddies and whoever, that like I just don't get I haven't got a chance yet to set foot on a property, whether public or private or whatever, and go, okay, let's play this out now and let's figure this out and let's do the right thing and hunt the right way and all this stuff. So I'm on that cusp of like that knowledge curve. So where I'm literally listening to you going, I can learn a lot from this guy, like, because I'm not there yet. But on the flip side of that is like, I look at everything you said and what Megan added there is like, for your kids, dude, like the fact that you have that thought process going to whatever stand you're picking that day, they're going to pick that up and go, okay, here's why dad picked this stand on this day and this wind and this weather and whatever. And they're probably going to pick it as long as you like probably communicate it to them. Like, here's why we're doing this day versus, you know, but I'm also setting you up in that stand and here's why, you know, or the well and here's why or whatever. You know, for me, I'm like, hey dude, you want to go hunting? Yeah, let's grab the air gun. Let's go hunt some squirrels, brother. Let's go figure it out. You know, like there's a difference there, but you know, so I see both sides, but I think you're probably doing it because you've taken that learning curve and shortened it. And you know, how many people now like look at like the elk hunting world, for example, and how many like elk hunting courses are online, you know, guys trying to shorten that learning curve. But I promise you step foot in a mountain and take off, like you're going to have to learn that on your own. Like, you know, part of it is that learning curve, but you get to shorten that also for this next generation of hunters, which is really cool. And I don't know, I guess I look at it like, I wish you were my dad a little bit is what I'm going to say. So like, teach me, Hunter, let's go, dude. I'll be your kid for a day. Like, you know, so I think you have an opportunity to play the best of both worlds almost. That's kind of neat.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see, you know, hopefully we get to have more kids too. We like a large family, and you know, when you have a lot of kids, you can kind of, you know, mess the first couple up. You got a saving grace.
That's the goal, dude. Yeah, we're ready to have the second one. I sit there at night thinking to myself, I'm like, you know, is there anything I need to remember about how we did the first one? Because I think he's turning out pretty good, but I'm like, now we got a second. And then, you know, I look at I grew up in a house of two. My wife grew up in a house of two, and my brother and I, like, our thought processes on life are just polar, like not crazy off the charts, but they're wildly different, you know, and the things he remembers versus what I remember. And he's 3 years younger than I am. And this little dude is going to be, you know, 4 years older than his brother. So I'm like, I don't know. The 1 to 2 concept, maybe we should talk about that for a second. Is there anything to be scared of or anything to look out for? Because I'm a parent needing education right now a little bit too with this.
So you have a bigger age gap. We found out that we were having our second one 5 days before our daughter's first birthday. So
okay.
That was a little scary. But honestly, everything that everyone says to you negative about going from 1 to 2, do not listen. It is great. They are, I mean, at least in our case, they're best friends. They play together now. Like, it's so fun. The first year is they're just in different spots. So, yeah, you know, sure. And up until their first, you know, they're walking around. They're just so different. But no, I mean, we didn't really have any struggles other than now we have 2 that we have to.
1 to 2 wasn't bad, but I'll tell you, I'm nervous about the 2 to 3. Because that's when you're officially outnumbered.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Got a little army on your hands.
So thinking that the oldest one will be, you know, a bit more helpful at that point. Like, actually, she wants to help, but like actually help her.
It was tough because I did get her potty trained before the second one was here, but
which was so nice.
She was only there were what, 18 months difference, 20 months. Not very much. I mean, she was still a baby, so it was hard. It'll be different next time. Like, even now, she just seems like such a big girl and like wants to help. And
all I know is there were several weeks there, just a few weeks where there were no diapers, and then we started over.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Well, that's a good point. So, you know, ours is, like I said, he's going on 4. February is his birthday, so he's still 3. But Yeah, the diapers thing is gone for him, and that's kind of like my, but at the same time, like he's at the point where I think he kind of wants to help. Like you said, I don't know how helpful he'll actually be, but then you see these shades of him, and I'm sure it's coming out more, like, as we're talking about baby more, and it literally any day it could happen. And there's little parts I'm like, dude, you haven't done that, or you haven't thrown a fit like that in a long time, or whatever. So I don't know if there's like that little bit of like, I don't know, they call it regression or whatever. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to be beyond it. But we've always kind of been, I think being a military family's helped us in a way, because you've just always kind of been on your own, and you go do your, we're living here. It's 20 hours from family. You're living here. That's 20 hours from family. This is the closest we've been. We're 12 hours from anybody. And it's just like, I think we've just become so dependent on kind of like, well, let the punches come, dude, and we'll figure it out along the way. So we're ready for it. But yeah, we're also soaking up any advice people have to throw at us. So yeah, we got to.
I mean, there's definitely a little spurt that we went through where we just stayed home. It was easier. Yeah. It was easier than going out, to dinner, or we go to church on Sundays, and there was a little bit of time where it was right in the youngest one's nap time, and it was just rough. Like there's some days we barely made it, but it's you know how much you loved your first one. You don't think you can love another one as much as you did that baby. And then you do. And
then it happens.
People say like, oh, you love them the same. No, you don't. You don't. They are two different people, and you love them just as much, but different. So I don't know. I'm excited for you. I wouldn't change anything. But like he said, we want 7 of them. So
yeah, you guys are a fraction of a percent just getting ready to rock and roll. No, that's cool too, because that's the other thing too. My brother and his wife were talking about. My brother's like ultra, like he's an engineer by trade, like ultra analytical about every little. Mowing his grass is a process, like I'll put it that way. And I'm like, dude, just get the yard done. But anyway, it's so he's just ultra fascinated with every little detail you can imagine. And so him and I talked about that, having kids, and I'm like, dude, the wildest thing to me was with having one. I was like, you don't really like, it was just, obviously my wife and I for however many years on our own, and we kind of did all these different places with the military and stuff. And then you have a kid, and it's just like, where does this love come from? You didn't realize you had it in you, I guess, until they're there. And just every time every day they wake up, your kid's kind of like a start over. It's like this weird, it's like a whiteboard every single day. Here's the negative column, here's the positive column. And at the end of the day, it washes out tomorrow and you're a clean slate again. It's just like, it's this crazy thing. That's, funny you mentioned that with the going to 2 is that's just something you think about. I don't know if it's probably natural to think about as a parent, is like, how do I go from like, you're my first kid, I know how I feel about you, to like, how am I going to feel that exact same way? I hear my wife talk about it actually, and she's like, I'm scared I'm not going to love him as much, or I'm scared I'm not going to.
I was too. Like, and nobody talks about it out loud. It's like something that you're not supposed to say, but it's
like this internal struggle. Yeah. Yeah. So that's encouraging to hear. I know it's like also like you realize, okay, I didn't have this place in my heart for this kid, the first one, before he was here. I know naturally it's probably going to develop on its own for the second one. And to your point, looking at me, my brother, we're totally different people, dude. So for my parents to figure it out, I'm sure I'm going to figure it out, or we're going to figure it out with these 2 totally different humans. And then I'm excited kind of to see that like navigation of, I'm kind of starting to, well, he's 3, so whatever. Like I'm seeing this little bit of like what he's interested in. Watch, this one's not going to want to do anything, hunting, fishing, anything. It'll be like the last thing he wants to do. We'll figure that out too along the way, I'm sure. So.
I don't know what I do.
My little boy?
No, one that's not, if one ends up not being interested in hunting and fishing.
That'll be okay.
They're going to be bored out there.
I was going to say, with 2 parents that love it as much too, that'll be different, man. Well, no, it's encouraging for me as a parent to talk to people who've been through it and done it before. So that's awesome. Well, let's get into, and I hope this doesn't bring up a little wedge between you guys, because after I saw your wife's deer, Hunter, I have to say, I probably would have I wouldn't have messaged you, dude, if I'm being flat honest. Like, I just let that one go. I'm totally kidding. This podcast about any hunting stories that are out there, dude. It's more about, again, just people being people. Let's connect. Let's talk about life, and let's hear some cool hunting stories, man. So I don't know how you guys want to split this up, but Megan, your buck was a slammer, and Hunter, Yours is awesome, and I don't know if I've seen a better Starry Night photo than yours. So I'll put it that way. The little artist in me is like coming out, and I'm like, I'm digging the picture you guys took. However you want to split it is fine with me. You said her story was better, so I don't know if you want to say best for last, ladies first. I don't know. How do you want to do this?
I think we'd like to do hers first, which we both have our parts to play in her story. So just to key it up a little bit. So I told you we hunt a lot of small properties. A couple of them are pretty close together. And when I say close together, it's not uncommon to get the same bucks on the properties, but you also, just because one's on one property doesn't mean you'll ever see it on the other. So the 2024-25 hunting season was when we first became aware of the buck. And I was getting it and several other, what I would call large bucks on trail camera fairly consistently in the early season. And two of them seemed like they had very similar genetics, seemed like they were very similar in age, whereas one of them was just a 5x4 and the other one was a true 5x5. But the angles that their tines came off the racks and the general shape of their main beams were identical. And they were always together in the early season. Well, when you're hunting small properties, the next thing that comes is neighbors. And we added it up one day and we knew of 17 people that were hunting that buck. Now,
holy cow.
A little torn hunting small properties. You know, we're not the Durries, we're not Bill Winke, we don't have gigantic farms. So I'm pretty quick to dismiss people talking about, you know, passing mature full-size deer. You know, there's a time and a place. I wish we, you know, were better able to do that. But I do honestly have to say in the 24-25 year, I spoke to her multiple times that I think the deer was only 3 years old at the time. And I had guessed him to be about 150-inch pinpointer. And I told her that I personally might have a conundrum shooting that deer because I have killed 150-inch, but I haven't killed 180-inch. And I can't get 180-inch if I don't let 150-inch go. And then the other part of my brain is saying that's dumb. There's 17 people hunting this deer. If you get the opportunity, it's an amazing deer.
Let her rip.
So needless to say, we both still hunted that deer on and off that first season. The other one that was running with him that I do suspect was of same genetic descent in some way, shape, or form. I don't like to assume they were brothers or whatever, but he ended up getting killed by a neighbor's daughter. I believe she was 11. Stud of a deer.
Our hearts were a little broke.
A little bit at first, but it's hard to.
I bet.
But then we found out, you know, who shot him, and
it's, you know, that little girl's hooked for life now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
now you're down to two, or you're down to one from two that you could have been potentially hunting too.
Correct.
So like,
which, in all fairness, there were other good bucks on still coming in. Like it's not like this was the only deer we had to hunt. There were older deer we had on camera, but they just didn't. They weren't as big.
And he was iffy about it, and I got the benefit that year because I was, you know, 8-9 months pregnant going into deer season. So he kind of was like, any chance I got, he let me go. So I hunted that buck pretty hard.
And we set it up. I mean, it's an easy spot to hunt. Long story short, but the ground blind is up against my childhood playhouse, which has long since been abandoned. Awesome. Just to put it in perspective, which it ends up brushing in beautifully, but so that first year, I mean, we'd miss him by a day. He'd be there, you know, we'd go in the morning, she'd go there in the morning, he'd be there in the evening. Go back the following morning, well, he came in an hour before dark and then didn't come back. Just real close. And even at the end of the season, his hair was so long and he had gotten so fat I started to question myself about how old that deer was. And even the end of that first season, I know muzzleloader, it was like -2 and I was hunting
I
him.
was gonna say because I had a newborn then and I wasn't hunting any. Well, that's not entirely true.
Which I had showed other people, and it's the beginning of that hunting season. You would say, I'm talking early October, you would say that is a 3-year-old buck. That's a magnificent 3-year-old buck. But then by January, it's like, no, I think he was a 4-year-old all year. But either way,
Didn't work out that year.
didn't connect anyway, so it didn't matter. Season came and went. We had a 6-hour window on him when he shed his antlers. He came in at like 2 in the morning and then came in again at like 8 in the morning in daylight, no antlers. And I knew pretty sure I was very confident I knew where he was bedding most of the time. And I thought for sure I was going to go in there and pick them antlers up right away. And I spent the better part of 2 weeks and never. I do think somebody else picked them up. I do think they were either where I thought they were originally or the second spot, but I think, I just didn't. I don't think I missed them. I don't think they're still out there. So that was a little disappointing. We did get to see him on the hoof one time.
Yeah.
Which was nice. Not really a good shot opportunity type thing, but it was still nice to get to see him on the hoof once. Of which he looked a little bit bigger than he did in the trail cameras.
I bet. Yeah.
Which I should also mention, we don't go naming every deer we consistently get on camera, but we do name some. Well, one of the other neighbors that was getting him on trail camera had been referring to this deer as Trump the Don. So we just adopted the name, which was nice because at least we knew which deer we were talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
A little bit different than just, the Big Ten. Well, fast forward to the 2025-2026 hunting season. So closer to the other property that we hunt in a bean field, we started seeing him with a group of 10 bucks, 8 bucks.
That's like our family outing. Like
we drive around and
look
for velvet bucks. So we seen him, and he was with some other rock star deer, but he definitely stood out. And I wasn't positive at the time, but I'm like, I think it's him. He's got the right frame, he's got the right points. But he was the first one to disappear from their group, and I didn't see him for a while. And there were some other rock star bucks in there I started watching. And then, we didn't get him the first weekend.
We got him on camera before season.
Right before season, he showed up in the normal spot on camera during daylight at that, which was nice because we were like, okay, he is there, he is alive. And then we got him like twice on camera. And then I wasn't getting pictures from that camera. Also, we had located a very nice buck on our own property that was getting pretty consistent, and a very nice buck on my lease that's nearby that was very consistent. Ironically, all 10 pointers, with the exception of one, had a kicker. So I was doing some out-of-state training. I was over in Indiana, and when I had signed up for the training, they had assured me on the second day they would let us out early so I could make it home in time to go hunting. So she had arranged for us to have a babysitter for both girls, and we actually weren't going to hunt together.
Well, because that past weekend, I had told you I was killing this buck.
She called it. She did call it.
You get very few days that you have to play and everything when you have kids. So I said, I am going hunting Wednesday and I am killing that buck. And he's like, yeah, okay, hope you do.
Which after about the fourth or fifth time she told me that, I said, okay, well, on Wednesday I'm going to the lease and I'm killing the other buck. Well, long story short, training didn't get out on time. And I'm driving back from Indiana with a buddy of mine, and he was also in the training. And it was obvious I wasn't going to make it in time to go hunting. And to be honest, I had not gotten enough data for me to move in on this deer. With the other 2 deer that we had and the consistency they were coming in, I told her she should change and go hunt somewhere else. At which point she told me she was going to that spot and she was killing this deer. And I do have to confess, as I was driving back from Indiana and the trail cameras started going off at all the other spots, I was sending pictures and I was even commenting to the guy in the truck with me. Said, "Oh, well, I told her, should have went to the other spot." And he dropped me off and we talked for a minute. He pulled out of the driveway and that's when I got the phone call. And I'll let you take the story from here.
So he kind of threw a wrench in the plans. I decided I did not care and I was still going to kill this buck. I had a good feeling, and trail cameras don't tell you everything. As easy as it is to follow them, they don't tell you everything. So I was dead set I was going to this spot and I was going to kill this buck. And I had told Hunter, because I had went hunting twice before then and I was itching. I mean, you know how it gets at the beginning of the season. And I was like, I'm going to shoot a doe. Even if a doe comes in, I'm shooting a doe. So it might seem silly, but I get in this ground blind and neither one of us had been in it since last season when I was pregnant. So we had 2 chairs in there. And I recently had made it a goal to start getting better at praying in front of people or out loud. And I read this thing and it was like, pull up a chair in front of you and pretend like you're talking to Jesus. So I got in this ground blind and there's this empty chair and I was like, hey, there's a chair for Jesus. Like, sit down and join me. And I have never felt so connected to God in my life, like just sitting in that blind. So I feel like I had an ongoing conversation, with God this whole time while I'm hunting, and these 2 does come in. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to shoot one of these does. And they just came in 12 yards in front of me and just stood there. And I kept getting this feeling like, don't do it. And all I kept hearing in my head was just be patient and trust God. Be patient and trust God. And I'm like, okay, if I'm not supposed to shoot this doe, have this other one, walk behind it. So they lined up and I was like, well, I can't shoot now. Yep. So I just watched these deer in front of me. Well, that's when I realized that the trail camera wasn't working. So he had no idea that these were even in there. And he just keeps sending me bucks from the other spots, telling me I picked the wrong spot. So I let these does walk. And normally I feel like after I'm like, oh man, I should have. And I didn't feel like that. And I'm like, it's still happening. It is going to happen. And I'm sitting there waiting, and this loudest noise that I've ever heard. You've been in the woods when a turkey is roosting? Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah.
This turkey roosted right in the tree right beside me and about scared me to death. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? This is the weirdest hunt. And still, I'm like, it's going to happen. It is going to happen. So then I start hearing a noise in the woods. And I'm like, sure as can be, I know that is that buck. That is God sending me that buck. I had no doubt in my mind. I don't know, I had no reason to actually think that. So anyways, I'm sure you do it too, but you play these scenarios in your head. If a deer walks in this way, they're going to come out right at this spot and walk right here, and that's just going to be perfect. This deer walked out right where I, pictured, and stood on this log.
Dirt pile,
whatever. This hill, it was at an incline, and it looked bigger than anything I've seen ever. And I was so calm. And I was like, I'm killing this deer. And he walked and he turned, he was actually quartering away a little harder than I thought, but still just perfect. I wasn't shaking. The adrenaline just didn't hit me. I pulled my bow back. I waited. I didn't rush the shot. It was if I could have dreamt it up. Perfect. So then I shot and all that just went away. And I was like, oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh no. Did I make a good shot? And I didn't even put my bow down yet. And I called Hunter and I'm like, oh, I just shot him. And he's like,
I said chicken.
Yeah, you said a deer we named years ago. And I was like, no, And you're like, well, what did you shoot? And I'm like, I shot him. I shot the big one. I shot trumped it on. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. And he's like, well, calm down. Stay where you are. I just got home. I will come to you. He needs some time. Don't get out of the blind. Just stay where you are. I'm like, okay. So I hang up because he's like, I'll talk to you when you get there. Like, and I'm like, okay. So I literally just like dropped to my knees and I'm like, please God, let that have been a good shot. Cause like I just couldn't even picture, like you forget.
Yeah.
And I'm like, please God, let that have been a good shot. Let him, die quickly. Let this not be one of those horrible days where, you're searching and find nothing. Like I kept thinking I was going to throw up. And he was just calm as a cucumber. He's like, no big deal. I'll be there soon. Like, I'm like, it is a big deal.
Yeah. She called me. I was the calm, cool voice of reason. Don't worry about it. I did tell her. I said, you're allowed to puke. I've seen people puke. And I got off the phone with her and I went into full dead rush. I'm looking for lights. I'm grabbing jackets. I'm getting a knife, and I'm just running around frantic to get there as quick as I can. I was running through my kitchen and it hit me, and I said, "Hold on, stop."
In the woods or on the water, it's the small details that dictate success or failure. A ruined diaphragm call or a lost fly isn't just a nuisance, it's a blown opportunity. You spend thousands on the hunt, don't lose it because you didn't protect your tools. Puck Outdoors has solved this with their 100% made in the USA modular twist lock storage systems. For hunters, the Puck keeps your elk and turkey mouth calls protected, organized and dry, and ready to run. No more warped reeds, searching through pockets, junk drawers, or the truck floorboards. For fishermen, the Fishing Puck features a magnetic tray in 4 modular compartments to keep your hooks, flies, and weights locked down and exactly where you need them. It's compact, it's rugged, and it's built to keep your most critical gear in peak condition season after season. The best part is they fit right in your pocket, your bino harness, or your fishing vest. Don't let poor organization be the reason you come home empty-handed. Go to puckoutdoors.com and use code Prayin and Slayin to get yours. That's code Prayin and Slayin to save 10%. Protect your calls, secure your tackle. Puck in, pack out. We've all been there. You're 6 hours into a sit and the buck you're after is nowhere in sight. Your knees are absolutely barking against the bark of that tree. Most hunters just suck it up until they can't take it anymore, and then they head for the truck. But you can't fill a tag from the couch. Comfort isn't a luxury, it's a tactical advantage that keeps you in the game longer. That's why you need the knee bag by Light to Fire Outdoors. This isn't some cheap foam pad. It's a patent-pending bead-filled design that actually molds to your knees and supports your hips. It's built from ultra-tough, weatherproof Cordura. It won't soak up water or gain weight when the weather turns sideways. It features padded wings that cradle your knees and even has MOLLE attachments for your thermocell or other pouches and gear. It's 100% made in the USA, handmade by veterans, so you know you're supporting an awesome cause every single time you get in the tree. The best part, it's a multi-season tool. Strap it to your body for saddle hunting or mount it to the tree trunk as a knee pad. Or when rifle season hits, turn it sideways. It becomes a rock-solid 15-inch tree-mounted shooting bag for those precision shots out of a saddle. Whether you want coyote tan or mossy oak bottomland, this is gear that evolves with your hunt. Stop fighting your gear and start focusing on the hunt. Get yours at www.prayinandslayin.com and use my code PRAYIN10 to get free shipping on your order. You can also hit the link in the show notes. The knee bag, comfort evolved. Stay steady, stay ready. This episode is powered by Dead Nuts Outdoors, makers of the most lifelike, lightweight, and weatherproof 2D archery targets in the world. That's right, I said 2D. We're talking full-size animals that bring the hunt to your backyard. Whether you're dialing in before the season or just burning daylight with your bow, Dead Nuts Targets makes practicing fun, training on full-size animals to ensure every rep in the backyard converts to success on your trips to the field. Built to last, easy to haul, compatible with any backstop, and 100% made in the USA, Dead Nuts Outdoors is a proud supporter of our veterans, investing in conservation and rooted in building a better, more confident community of hunters every step of the way. They are proud supporters of the Prayin and Slayin Podcast Network, and you can get 10% off your Dead Nuts targets by using the code Prayin and Slayin at checkout. That's Prayin and Slayin at your checkout or visiting the link in the show notes. Dead Nuts is helping us all hit the spot, not the dot. Hit
hit it dead nuts. Now, let's get back to the episode.
And I stopped right in front of our stove for whatever reason. And I prayed. I prayed that this deer expired quickly. I prayed that she made a good shot because she deserved this deer more than anything. And I was so excited and so worked up as I was driving there. And it's like a 9-minute drive. And I just kept calling my friends and nobody would answer. And I finally, like, the fifth one answered. And he's like, what's up? What's up? And I'm like, Megan killed that big buck. I'm freaking out. And she thinks I'm calm. I need you to calm me down. And he did. He's like, get it together. Get it together. You haven't even. Get over there, assess the situation, call me when you need help. And I had asked her after the shot, I'm like, do you know where he went? What do you see? And there was one point in time she told me.
I called you back.
Yeah, she called me.
I called my dad and I told him, and he's like, I don't know what deer you're talking about. Cause I'm like, I just shot a big deer. And he, they had my kids, and he's like, okay. I'm like, okay. He's like, I don't know what deer you're talking about. And I'm like, you know what? You're actually ruining this for me. Like, I'm going to hang up.
And you're not the guy I should have called. Yeah.
An important note is, which no offense, but she does not have great eyesight. And if a deer comes in 15 minutes before the end of legal, it is just going to walk on by. And this buck came in like 38 minutes before the end of legal. It was still light outside. I was still debating on running in the backyard to hunt myself. But she had told me at one point on the phone that she thought maybe she could see the luminoc in the woods. And it's a pulsating one. And she was worried it was moving. So I said, okay, just stay put. Don't worry. So I got there. I got her out of the blind. We prayed together. And where she had shot it was about a 12-yard shot from the blind, and it's right up against the fence of the woods. So we walked to the where the shot was, and I could see blood immediately, and she told me where he went in at, because he didn't go back the same way. He ran down and jumped the fence. And I looked up, and I said, oh, I can see the luminoc in the woods. And when I seen that, I'm like, I think I see a white belly. Now, I didn't tell her that because I'm still thinking maybe I can surprise her. So I kind of like pulled the focus on my flashlight. She could see it on my face. She's like, do you see the deer? And I couldn't lie to her. And he was about 22 yards in the woods. So I could see him. So I immediately just switched and started filming as we walked to this deer, and inevitably ended up capturing just this beautiful moment where we actually get to see this deer up close. We get to put our hands on him for the first time. And I had, I make our arrows. I fletch them a certain way. I changed her arrow setup this year to something I felt more confident with. She went to a high FOC arrow, strong helicoil fletchings. I also went to all white fletchings so that she could see them better, and then the pulsating luminox. Well, after I had finally gotten her arrows dialed in, I had wrote Bible verses on each of the arrows. And the arrow that she used was Leviticus 17:13. Do you want to read it?
No. We can't.
And whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof and cover it with the dust. So the arrow was actually about 4 feet in front of the deer. So my thinking was, obviously it fell out right when he went down. Later on, I realized her arrow had cleanly passed through that deer and went about 20 yards in the woods. He actually J-hooked around and ended up falling about 4 feet behind the arrow. So it was just
Holy
coincidental
cow.
they were
Crazy,
that
yeah.
close, which was a big thing
Whoa.
for us that she not only got a clean pass through, but also the arrow still was able
Yeah.
to keep going.
I'm 5 foot tall. Like I don't, I have a 23, 24 inch draw. Like it's a struggle.
But we felt good that we finally have a great setup for it. And I have drug a lot of deer. I'm not a big guy either, but I've drug a lot of deer and I've drug them pretty long distances. And I will say this was the heaviest deer. It took everything me and her had to drive this deer.
Going back a little bit, walking up to this deer, like he's way bigger than we thought.
Oh,
I mean, like you see, what is it? The ground shrinkage.
yeah.
I saw this deer and I was like, he's huge. There's no, like, he's huge. But I was also in a ground blind looking, dead at him. So I thought that was just me making this up in my head how big this deer is. And we walked up to him and he's like, that's a big deer. Like, that is a huge deer.
It was magnificent.
It was definitely a moment I will never, ever forget.
And in that video, when she picks him up and,
Spin them around.
gets that head level and faces, it is just, whoa. Which I had guessed, the year prior, I had guessed this deer at about 150. And he took a jump. And this year I had guessed him at 165, and I was wrong.
I don't think you even guessed that high.
I might not have. I had even remarked at one point that he did not take as big of a jump as I thought. Not to take anything away from the deer. He's beautiful and he's perfect. I mean, just an incredible deer. But he was so heavy. I mean, it took us probably 30 minutes to drag him 20 yards. And I wish I would have put a scale on this deer.
Yeah, he was a big boy.
And even through the whole, with the gutting and the processing, I'm like, he's got so much fat on him. Which I will say, one interesting side note of this deer was when I was gutting him, I noticed he had one testicle about the size of a grapefruit. And I didn't know what to make of that at first. And then as I gut him, I realized he had a hernia that broke through his stomach lining and actually filled his testicle. And I can only imagine how bad that had to hurt.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it makes me wonder if that contributed to some of just the crazy amount of weight that this deer put on.
Yeah, he was huge.
Are there any parts of that story that you feel I missed or you wanted to retouch on?
Well, are you going to tell him how big he was?
Oh, so I had scored him that night. Do you remember what I scored? I think I scored him at like 176 and some change. And I'm not a
Holy
certified
cow.
scorer in any way, shape, or form, but I have scored well over 100 deer. And I had scored him that night at like 176 and some change. And we took some comments back on that. Some people just telling us, well, let us know what he actually scored when you get him officially scored.
For sure.
So we had Buckmasters score him, and he ended up scoring 178
178 and
5/8.
So
he
you
was
grew
actually
on.
a little bigger, and we actually do have the rack here if we can get it.
Oh, no way.
Uh,
That's awesome, man.
and he's in the perfect typical category in
Yeah.
Buckmasters, and it's going to get real technical here real quick, but he is in technicality in the record book. He is the largest perfect category typical killed by a woman with a compound bow in the state of Ohio. Which makes me think on some of my deer,
That's
if I
awesome.
drill it down enough, I can have the largest. But no, I am super proud of her, and I honestly, she completely deserves it. She hunted so hard through her and our pregnancies and the birth of our young children. She watched me shoot a very large buck uh,
When it was technically my turn.
when it was technically her turn. Uh, and I honestly could not think of anyone that deserved this deer any more than that.
No, thanks. Yeah, even still, it feels like a dream. I mean, just everything about it. But he did not, he didn't take away from it at all, even though we were hunting the same deer. I felt like it would have been very easy to be a little envious. But if he didn't let it show.
Oh, we made plenty of jokes. Plenty of jokes. Everyone told me, they're like, Hunter, you've killed some big deer. But it doesn't matter how big a one you kill this year. No matter what. It's going to be smaller than your wife's, and you are going to catch crap for it. Which, I mean, we can kind of transition in my story unless you have any questions or anything on hers.
Yeah, I've got more notes on this deer story than I think I've ever taken in my life. I don't know, man. That's wild. So I've got the picture. Go ahead.
We did when we realized which arrow she used when she killed that deer and which Bible quote, we immediately, because obviously there's a good pool blood there. So we covered it with the earth right there, and respected the deer. So I don't know that I'll ever forget that Bible verse.
I know.
And to be honest, I think we've kind of formed that as a habit now. I don't necessarily go out of my way to, drain them or anything, but when I do walk up on my animals now and there is blood on the ground, I have made a habit of covering it up just out of respect. So she killed that deer early into the second week of October.
Yeah.
Which we talked a little bit about the trade-off on the you watch your kids, I go, well.
Felt like it wasn't my turn.
Ended up having the most opportunity to hunt in archery season that I have had in a few years. She was very, very respectful after that, and any opportunity to hunt was mine. She'd watch the kids, I'd go hunt. We still had other big deer, other properties, and I hunted hard. And I had a really nice buck in our backyard. I was just calling the Big Ten, and a really nice buck on our lease. That was a 10-pointer with an extra kicker that I was calling Edward because she made fun of me that I named him Sunshine. So I figured Edward would be even worse. Which is off of Twilight, in case you don't know.
No, I got it.
Like every picture we got of him, he was like right in the sun, like
Every
showing off.
time he'd have a beam of sunlight on him and he looked all shiny. But every time I'd zig, they'd zag. If I'd go hunt the one, the other would be there. And for the record too, that night that she killed hers and I was going to go hunt the one on the lease, he did come in. But yeah, it was a tough deer season for him. I mean, I say tough. I loved every bit of it. I had a 130-inch class 8-pointer that's in our backyard that came in multiple times. I could have shot the deer. He's a young buck, and I couldn't do it. I got some awesome pictures of him, high definition with the cell phone out of the blind. I think I had 3 in-person encounters with him, or 4. Great buck. I hope I have him trained well, and I hope he does it again next year. But so fast forward as season progressed, I went down to southeastern Ohio for gun season where EHD hit a little hard. We have an annual deer camp we go down there for. And although I can't honestly say that we've seen a reduction in overall deer, we only seen 1 buck between the entire group, the entire week.
Wow.
And that's definitely a lot lower for us. So we had fun. We shot a bunch of does. Great trip. I come back from that, and for the first time in my life, I started waterfowl hunting. And it's a slippery slope. and that will consume you. And all of a sudden, I was unfocused on deer hunting. I mean, the deer that I wanted weren't coming in on the properties. Um, I did some sits and I got in this weird spot where I'm like, I kind of want to stick with this waterfowl thing. I'm doing it with my friends. We're all getting together. We're having a great time. So muzzleloader season comes around, and my properties are, for lack of a better term, they're dead. They've been pressured hard, and deer are coming in, but they're coming in the middle of the night. And I've been down this road before. If the timing's not right, don't hunt them. So I have an uncle who owns a good chunk of property right outside the city limits. He killed a very large deer this year, as he has a beautiful trial. I mean, they always talk about the big buck assassins, and you don't realize how many people like my uncle are just sitting in small town Ohio and probably has 20 deer over 140 inches on his wall. And you wouldn't know it unless you knew the guy. He's not posting them on Facebook. He doesn't have his own Instagram page, but either way, he told me they still get a lot of deer coming in, and said, all right, well, I'll come up there and hunt. And the first night, so the Saturday of muzzleloader season, I sat in the stand he told me to, and I seen some does. And right the last 5 minutes illegal, I looked down, I was on a power line, and at about 100 yards, there was a deer. And it was obviously a buck. And through the binoculars, I could make out his main beams coming past his ears, but I could not honestly say there was a single point coming off of him. It was a very, very dark night. And I pulled up the gun, I zoomed the scope in, and you can't see him in the scope. Zooming out, you can see him. I checked the phone. There's 2 minutes left illegal, but I got to be all the way zoomed out. I wasn't holding real steady. I was shaking. I didn't take the shot. So the next evening, I said I'd come back, and we were able to get a babysitter. So Megan was.
For the record, for somebody that killed that big of a deer, like, I am not complaining, but this has been one of the toughest hunting seasons we've had since we've had kids, because that's like a break. I stay home with them, and that's like, getting to go hunt is my break. And I've let him go every chance there was. I was getting some cabin fever staying in the house, and
in all fairness, I'd say I think she only hunted one other time in between these two hunts. Like from when she killed her deer to muzzleloader hunting with me, I think she only hunted one other time. Well, anyways, I got a little bit more knowledge about how the deer had been moving, so I switched, and I hunted in a different spot, and I put her in a great spot where I thought she'd be able to shoot a doe. And I got in this old ladder stand. I mean, real old. Looked like someone made it in shop class. Someone just got a welder and went to town. This thing will be there when I'm long gone. And it's only like 7 feet tall. So I'm sitting in this thing, and I keep trying to look back towards her because she's behind me. I mean, we're probably only 60 yards apart. And at one point in time, and also, mind you, geese are flying over me like crazy. And he's already given us permission to goose hunt after muzzleloader season. So I just can't get it out of my head. I'm just watching all these geese. Well, I look up in the field that she's in, and I see 2 deer, and I'm immediately like, that's 2 bucks. And there's a lot of brush. And I put the binoculars up, and I see the first one. I'm like, okay, it's like a 1.5-year-old buck. The one behind him is probably the bigger one. And mind you, they walked within 12 yards of her.
Yeah, we're texting, and he's like, there's 2 bucks coming behind you. And I'm like, okay. So I'm, peeking back. Well, there's 2 does in front of me. And I'm like, well, I don't know if he's going to shoot these bucks or not. And I don't want to ruin it for him if he is.
Yeah.
So I just kind of wait, and like nothing. So I'm like, are you going to shoot or no?
Well, these bucks come around, and they just perfect. And I realize I finally get a chance to see the second buck in line. And I'm like, okay, buck number one is the big one in this group. And it was a beautiful evening. And we probably only had like 20 minutes left. And I was shaking. And I'm like, Hunter, if you are shaking, that is your buck. Like that is your buck right there. And I pulled up and I grew up a bird hunter, so I'm a slap shot and I'm real bad about it. Like I'm not good at just holding steady. And I tried my best, I'm like breathe, hold steady, slowly squeeze. And when you shoot, you don't know. You don't you get the smoke everywhere off the muzzle loader, and so it clears and I can see him running into the next field. I'm watching him like just fall, and he just topples right there. And I'm like, oh, I did it. I did it. And I do the little spin around in my stand. And I look up and I just see two does booking it away from my wife. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I screwed that one up for her. So, but it was nice. We got a golf cart. We drove over straight to the deer. I gutted him right there. We were able to cover the blood with some dirt, and it was dark by that time, but it was such a bright evening, and there was just no clouds, and the geese were still flying. I'm gutting this deer, and I'm still looking up every time a group of geese is flying over us. And my uncle's had that property my entire life, and he has invited me to hunt every year since I started deer hunting. And that is the first time I've ever taken him up on that offer. And I was very happy to kill that deer there, and he was very happy that I did. I lost my father, his brother, obviously, a little over a year ago. He passed right before the birth of our second daughter. And I know it's hit him hard, and he really likes it when me and my brother come over. And him being such a big hunter, he loves talking to me about all of that. And I think it really made him happy that I took him up on the offer and sealed the deer on deer. I mean, not one regretful word out of it one bit. We're so blessed. We have a walk-in cooler at our house, so I came home and hung him, skinned him out, and we got them all butchered up now. But yeah, I mean, it was just a beautiful, beautiful hunt. And
even when we don't get to hunt right next to each other, like we still get to hunt together, and it's nice. It's like our date nights.
We were hunting together about this close to each other when we picked our second daughter's name.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of names on a piece of paper, and we were just passing it back and forth. And I remember it is as if she found the loudest paper she could. And we were dead silent while we're hunting. All you hear is just this loud paper going
You're
back
so
and
dramatic. It was not.
it seemed loud to me.
And for the record, if you're thinking about doing that, don't. Because we picked a name. We picked a name off this piece of paper, and it wasn't until she was about a month old that I had heard him say it. And I was like, that is not how you say her name.
We pronounce it completely different.
That's awesome.
Child names are a verbal conversation.
Yeah.
100%.
Which,
No, that's a great call.
I did hunt after. He drove the kids around when she was about 3 weeks old.
Yeah.
Well, I went and hunted, and I killed two does that night, and I put them on my minivan.
Heck yeah.
Her brand
That's
new
awesome. Do you have any pictures of that? Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I do.
Like over the hood or over the top?
The top.
Over the roof, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, you can't beat that, man. If you got any pictures of that, that might be the podcast like cover art right there. If you got two does that go over the top of a minivan, let's let it rip.
Yeah.
I think I climbed on something to get a picture. I remember doing
We have one somewhere, I'm sure.
But yeah, I mean we're very blessed. We get to do this. As far as deer hunting goes, we are blessed that we are in a very awesome state where you have opportunities at very large bucks. Even though we only have small properties, we don't we can put a food plot in on ours, and we do. It's not real big, but that's the only property we have that we can even do that on. Um, and I don't think I'd trade it for anything.
No, but I will say, especially after this year, um, I feel like the most important thing is putting God first.
For
That
sure.
has made a huge difference in our hunting.
I don't
Yeah.
think I will ever make a batch of arrows where I won't write Bible verses and pray over our arrows before we hunt.
Even when we go hunt, like in the backyard, we have, like I said, he has set up some nice spots. And we have a, what's it called?
The redneck barn.
Yeah. And like I can go back there and I can set my Bible up and I can read while I'm out there. And like that's just something like I never have even really thought about doing before. And it's changed a lot.
I do it on my phone, and then I get that thing where after a while you're like, how long have I been staring at my phone? Have I looked up in a minute? If I could add one more note too. So our oldest daughter was very proud that her mom killed that big buck. But I will say, every night that I'd go hunting after that, as soon as I'd walk in the door, my daughter would run up and go, Daddy, did you get a big buck? Every night I had to go, no, baby, I didn't.
Yeah, it started wearing on him.
It was cute at first, okay?
Yeah.
After the 50th time, it's like, no, I didn't.
I'm like, shh, maybe don't
Well,
ask him tonight.
how about this? I'll send you a picture ahead of time if I do, so we can avoid the interrogation when I get home. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I just went hunting. That's funny. I went hunting I've been hunting twice since we've been here in Texas. One time went out, it was like a high fence ranch, sat in a blind a couple nights and didn't end up seeing what we were there to hunt. And then over here on Fort Hood, you can hunt on the base. And I just got out with a guy who kind of knows the ropes of how to do it and whatever. And got to go climb a tree for the first time in forever. And it was like a week before season closed. And first question my boy asked when I got home, Dad, did you get some meat for the freezer? Like, no, man, I didn't even see anything. But it was just like, well, like you said, I only had one opportunity to hear that. But I'm sure after the third or fourth time, I've been like, okay, man, like I'm starting to take it personal now. I swear I'm better than this. I can do this. But
I don't
that's
know if you
awesome,
can
man.
say it on I don't know if you can say it on the podcast or not, but what part of Texas are you in?
We're stationed at Fort Hood, so we're Killeen is the town that Fort Hood is kind of in, but we're in like Harker Heights, Texas, so just as suburb of Killeen, basically. So central Texas, about 2 hours from Dallas, 2 hours straight south of Dallas on 35, and 1 hour north of Austin on 35. So kind of right middle of the state, basically.
We went down to Texas 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 3 years ago to hunt sandhill crane. It was awesome.
That's pretty cool. I've seen guys starting to put those posts up now. Like that's a thing that apparently now is maybe the time of year to get after it. There's guys starting to really do that. I running an outfitter program previously. There was a lot of guys that would do that, like in Arizona, New Mexico, some of the, like the desert states. And I didn't think much about Texas, I guess, when we came down here. I definitely want to try to do it, but I haven't done it yet. Looks like a good spot to do it down here.
We did it in the Panhandle, and one of the things was, it's, oh, hey, in January we're going to go hunt in Texas, get away from the cold weather. It was like
And
record lows.
you have to pick you have to schedule this like a year
Oh, yeah,
ahead.
this was booked a year ahead. We get down
Oh,
there,
yeah.
record lows. Flights were delayed, canceled. Water lines are frozen everywhere. I mean, they don't
Nobody knew how to act.
they don't know how to react to this
Yep.
weather. And when we're down there crane hunting, my father was with us. He was very obsessed with them. He wanted to go do this crane hunt really bad. Um, it was so cold. I was so worried about him. Which he had cancer and he was, terminal by that point. Had recently gone through chemo when we took him. So I was worried about him the whole time, but I can't remember him complaining about being cold one time.
No.
And we had a great trip. I mean,
But you also bought him all new everything right before we went.
I went to Cabela's and I bought the heaviest weight gear they sell, bibs, jacket, gloves,
yeah.
the full head gear. Heated socks, boots, which I kept his boots. They're warm. I like them. They got the bow. He didn't like tying his shoes, so I got the ones with the boa. They're nice
Yep.
boots. I like them. Every time I put them on, I'm like, he's with me. He's with me
Heck
tonight.
yeah. Literally walking in your father's footsteps, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. That's funny.
Heck
I've had
yeah.
the exact same thought on that.
That's wild, dude. Yeah, it looks like a cool thing, and that's pretty awesome. If that's a trip he wanted to take, you guys got to go down there and do that with him. That's pretty incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
He drove me all across this country, taking me hunting. He took me and we I was like 11 years old and we were going turkey hunting and next thing you know, we had three of our four birds for our grand slam in 1 year. And
Hey.
the school would not let me leave to go get the fourth one.
Oh,
And
no way.
it wasn't until I was 19 years old that we went and got that fourth one. I had a good job at the dealership by then. I had some money, and I told him, I said, "Hey, I booked us a hunt for our Miriam," and and we did. We went out and got them, and just felt like we had completed something.
That's pretty incredible. What state did you get your Miriam in?
I did mine in Nebraska, the very most northwest corner. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and mine was a very similar story to yours. I crawled with a reaping fan 800 yards through cow pasture, uh, and I am also very confident I probably could have walked to this turkey. Uh,
Yeah.
but I was dedicated. The humor in that was my father walked right behind me and picked up all the stuff I dropped along the way. So,
Sounds about right.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
we both
awesome.
got our
They're
turkeys. It was beautiful. That was an amazing trip. And you talk about taking videos and stuff for yourselves. Um, my stepmother gave me an SD card. I had a digital camera on that hunt, and I took a bunch of pictures and short little videos. Uh, and I and she gave it to me for Christmas. So I just recently got to go through that, and I tell you, it's a nice thing to have.
Heck yeah, dude. You literally can't replace it. That's even, a little bit different scenario, but, my wife and I would she'll open up her Snapchat and play the memories on it. It's like, kind of thank God even for things like Snapchat, dude, because I don't know, they're babies for so long and then they grow up, the kid aspect of everything. And it's just like, we're not sitting there with digital cameras anymore or photo developed cameras or anything like that. Now we have these I've got 4,039 photos on my phone. I know that number because I have to delete 5 every time I want to do anything on my phone because it's out of memory. Yeah, you go through and there's certain ones you just don't ever delete, but what are you ever going to do with them? But then you get these little highlight reels of things. So having an SD card almost handed to you, it kind of reminds me of that. It's like something you might not ever think about again unless you see it play out in front of you, or something just reminds you of the memory. But that's pretty cool. I don't know if you can get a better Christmas gift for that, to be honest.
I did finally learn with all my hunting photos on my phone. I try to, and I do them in large groups, so I might wait a year to do it, or even 2 years.
I say we're due for it.
Yeah, because I'm using Google Photos, but they'll come out with things. Well, they'll have a special, and it's like print out 200 photos for $39. So I just go and I know where I left off. And I actually print out all my favorite hunting photos, which are normally the group photos with the people, and I actually have a physical photo album I put them in, because
It's a
one
thing
day
of
I
past.
hope I will have a hunting cabin somewhere, and I just think
Yeah.
it would be a great thing to have on the coffee table.
Yeah.
All these actual
Yeah.
photo albums you can flip through and see all this stuff. I've also tried to get in the habit of writing down
Yeah.
the details that I can remember on the
Okay.
back of the photo. That way, well, if there's a time that I don't possess those memories in my brain anymore, I can flip through them and enjoy them. And, I don't know where we were. Oh, it was Kansas. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. My grandparents, man, they live by photo albums, and that, every single photo on the back of it's got names, dates, more information than you're ever going to think you'll need. But then looking back now, I think we're all kind of in that same boat. We're like, okay, we've got so much digital file space everywhere Like, where does it ever all exist? And I've thought about they have these different apps now. I downloaded it and undownloaded it 100 times. I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, there's one that like takes your photos and like turns them into a photo book. It's way more expensive than that, though. That's the kind of thing that gets me every time is like the price when you go to like print this book out. You're like, I don't know, man. I'll just save them on my phone or whatever. But I think that's the way to do it. I just need to load up one day and just go print 100 at a time and start at the back and move to the front and do that. I think that's a great idea.
Flipping through it and seeing them.
Yeah.
And just on your phone.
But I'll tell you, I still can't delete them off my phone. Just because I print them out,
so it doesn't help with that problem.
Still there.
Oh, okay. Well, that's my thing.
You said, I like the little memory reels that it pops up.
Yep.
I got bear hunts I went on with my father, and I love it when it pops up and I can see those, and it's just because I take a ton of photos, but then you got like 2 or 3 that you post, the nice, pretty ones. But you never deleted all the in-between photos. And when it pops up the memories, you get those in-between ones too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Now there's a guy, Kendrick, he's from Ohio, actually. He works for Rocky Mountain Goat Alliance. I've had him on the podcast, and he's one of his, he does a bunch of different things. He writes, and he has like some story stuff that he does, but then he's a photographer. And he goes out with people when they go hunting, and like instead of having someone that's like filming you this whole time, he's just like taking photographs the whole time. So he tells your story of your hunt, but in a series of photographs. And I never thought much about it, kind of being a guy that's like, hey, let me go video my hunt type thing. But then you watch him do it with photographs, and you're kind of like, there's almost something to that, because you have to imagine every single thing that happened around the photograph and the whole thing. A picture's worth 1,000 words. But then when you go do a video, the thing I find myself doing most when I'm editing all these videos is, and I've got more hunts now that are just sitting in a file somewhere that I need to like figure out how to put together. But the hardest thing to put together is like, where do you cut stuff out? Because everything that happened feels so important to you when you're going back and edit, especially when you're personally attached to it. But then there's only like certain things, like the guys that are probably really good at video storytelling, like they kind of know, hey, I'm going to tell this story. Here's a story I want to tell, and I'm going to use the video to kind of support that. But if you did the hunt yourself, like in my case, half the time I'm sitting there watching, and I'm like, this is going to be a 3.5 hour long video because I got 3.5 hours of footage here. And, I want to make it 15 minutes so people actually watch it or whatever, on YouTube. And it's like, how do you do it? Like, that's the hardest part about it. But then you go watch this guy do it with photographs, and it's kind of like, okay, it makes you almost like freeze time a little bit. And okay, what were the actual important things? But you still see the same story. It's just flipping page to page to page instead of watching it all, play out in front of you. So, the whole photograph thing, man, I'm all in that boat, and I definitely need to get on that photo album train for sure, especially with little people growing up in our lives and wanting to get out there and do that. And you got a bajillion photos on your phone. On my phone, I've got to get rid of, but now you said you don't delete them. So that's not going to solve my space issue on my phone that I don't want to get rid of. But
I tell you,
I can, yeah.
I pay the extra money to Google, and now I got so much extra storage. I hope I don't max this out, but I'm a long ways off. But it was same thing. It was screaming at me. I don't have enough storage.
Mine was doing.
I think I'm paying like $14 a year for the storage now. And
that's it.
Yeah, and it's not like I got money coming out of my ear, but $14 to not be hassled about deleting photos anymore.
That's actually not a bad thing.
So important.
Oh,
well, that's just it. And I like how you said it too. Like it's all the in between photos that seems weird, but like now you're like, I find myself doing it mostly like on airplanes and stuff. When your phone's in airplane mode, that's when I'll go through my photos and I'll like actually try to like clean it up or whatever. And it's like, you'll look at the same photos you've looked at 100 times. And for some reason you still can't delete, like it's 3 takes of the exact same picture. But for some reason, like you just can't decide which one needs to go. And like, it's a game, man. So maybe it never needs to go away. I don't know. Maybe I just need to pay $14 a year and let Google handle all the storage problem that I don't have to worry about. But no, dude, that's wild. Your guys' hunting season, by the way, one of the best. I hope I don't bomb any other guests that have been on here, but your guys' story is like one of the best ones I've heard on this podcast. It's awesome. And start to finish, dude, that's the big buck story is so cool. And I had the picture pulled up on Facebook. So I was like, kind of like looking at it while you guys were telling the story, and the body size was one of the first, like the thing I kept coming back and like looking at that deer before you got to that point. And I'm like, how big is that deer? Because his neck, his face, his hips, like everything about him, like that is a monster deer.
That's one thing I told him before we actually found him. I'm like, as big as he looked, like his neck just seemed huge. Like it was so big. That's the first thing I noticed. Not even how big, his antlers are. Like he came around that corner and his neck just was like massive.
It's a monster. Yeah, it's like you can't tell where his neck stops and his shoulders start. It's like he's a thick deer.
Yep. Well, and like I said, I'm not a exceptionally big guy, but I can drag a deer. I've drugged deer. I've pulled deer up into the bed of the truck by myself all the time, no problem. There was no chance, a 0% chance I could, between the two of us, we could get this deer. As soon as we got him to the yard, I went and got the tractor. I was like, we can't. There's no other option.
That's it.
Yeah. And I do have a picture of her next to him when I had him hanging by the tractor. It's what I like to think of as like your typical Wisconsin photo. The buck's hanging from the tractor and you just stand beside it. And that thing just dwarfs her by how massive it is compared to her. It was a huge deer, and I feel like I did an injustice not weighing it. I don't have a scale here that would be appropriate to do that kind of a weight, and we process all our own deer, so the thought just never crossed my mind until after.
Yeah. Well, until after, and everyone sees the pictures, and I've never had anyone ask me how much a deer weighs before, and so many people ask. And of course, my husband's answer was 400 pounds, and he's like, "Oh, really? How'd you come to that?" And he's well, my scale goes to 350, and he's like, "Oh, so you weighed him?" And he's like, "No, why would I put a 400-pound deer on my scale that goes to 350?"
People were getting pretty upset with that answer. I did have to finally quit saying.
That's a great answer, though. That's like the best answer.
I killed a buck 3 years ago, chicken foot.
Yeah.
He was an ancient deer, super old.
Super cool deer.
Super cool deer. Wish I would have sent a tooth out to get him aged. Super old. We picked him up, threw him in the bed side by side, no problem. I mean, it wasn't even he was a large deer, but you can move him. Like I've never had.
I think with the injury that deer had, he was getting up to eat and mosey around and going right back and laying down and not moving a whole lot.
And in all fairness, too, I learned a very, very valuable lesson, which I tell people all the time, don't let trail cameras discourage you. They miss so much. However, this trail camera had a solar panel on it, and I would get pictures during the day, but not in the evenings. The sun could only hit the panel first thing in the morning, and apparently it would charge up enough that I would get pictures of some squirrels and birds and deer if they came in between the hours of 10 and 2. And it was not taking pictures past 3 p.m. And it makes me wonder if that deer had been coming in every night, every morning like he had the year prior. So I did have to, I had to learn that lesson, I guess.
And listen, that his wife was right.
Yep. I had to admit that. And of course, I had to go putting my foot in my mouth prior to that, too. I was even, the gentleman I drove back with the next day was giving me some grief about it because a whole ride, I'm like, she's in the wrong spot. She's in the wrong spot. She don't listen to me. I'm smarter. I am smarter.
I don't know. The story, the way it all played out, though, I think it's pretty darn fitting that you had the opportunity to say, okay, you had Jesus in the chair across from you. You got a chance to, you'd heard this before. You saw it, you implemented it. You got to practice. Those little tidbits, I guess, that we kind of get throughout life that you're kind of like, okay, but something will remind you, like, hey, I remember hearing this one time. Let me pretend like Jesus is in that chair across from me. And she got a chance to pray and then do it. And it all played out exactly like it needed to. And I think we've all played that game if you're a person of faith. Like, okay, is this this is happening, like those does, right? Like
Yeah.
if this isn't supposed to happen, then let's do this. Let's see if this happens. Then it happens, and you're like, okay, but now what if this happens? And like, I don't know, to be honest, if I would have had the wherewithal to not let one of those does get whacked. Like I'm that guy. I'm like, no, I got a tag in my pocket and there's meat in front of me. Let's go. I'm getting it.
Well, that's the other thing is we were running low on deer meat.
We were.
And I was like I had every intention of shooting a doe if it walked in, and I wasn't supposed to.
Yeah. Well, little did you know, this guy was going to weigh like 3 does worth of meat on him. Like he's in a tank. The biggest deer in the woods walks by. Yeah, that's crazy. And then the size of him too. That's interesting. He had an injury because the biggest, though, that 140 some inch deer I shot, it's got that drop time. He's the exact same way. Like it was, I didn't know any better. It was the second deer I ever shot with my bow. I knew he was big. I get up to him, and I remember the first thing I did was like I was staring at him. I'm like, this is a big deer. And I had an old flip phone at the time, and I put my foot on his neck because I was like, this is how I can show people how big this was. And I took a picture of my foot on his neck, and he had like this much neck on each side of my toe and my heel, like just massive deer. And anyway, me and the landowner's daughter, actually, she came out to help me gut him and do that. We covered him with the tarp because I had to go to work. And my dad, I knew I couldn't drag it out by myself, and I wasn't going to ask her to help me. So waited for my dad and his buddy to get out there. They both did the same thing, dude. And they're like, my dad's 6'6", his buddy's the same size, both 300+ pound dudes. They didn't let me drag it. They were struggling to get this deer out of there. And I'm like, same thing. I wish you had a scale to just weigh in, because I bet you was every bit of 300+ pounds. And yeah, just one of those deer that just kind of make you scratch your head. But the thing that the running joke I always got was I got him. My dad wasn't a hunter, but the landowner was. It was his business partner, and so he was always giving me all this crap about why I got this big deer, and he's never killed a deer that big or whatever. But it had a clubbed foot on him, and I remember like one of its nails looked like it might have been like infected or whatever. And so I'm kind of wondering if it wasn't maybe exactly what you guys just, I never thought about till you said it, but he might have just been getting up and barely moving as little as he needed to. And then just getting as heavy as he could. But the only thing that brought him by was a doe, but he followed a doe right by the stand, and that's what got him that day. But yeah, that's wild, man. But yeah, you guys, the cool part is the trail camera wasn't working. So that deer he may have been there. He may not have been. Maybe God brought him by that day. Maybe he could come in there every single day. But either way, it was like a faith move. Like you went to the stand that you had a gut feeling about. Hunter's getting a lesson in humility over here. Unreal. He didn't know it at the time, but he would get it later, kind of thing. And it just totally changed your guys' outlook on hunting. I think that's so cool. As a couple, and you guys, praying before you go hunting and just making that a permanent part about what you're doing. I think that's powerful in any walk of life, regardless of hunting, there or not. But that's pretty cool to hear you guys tell that story and kind of what it elevated your hunting to now, in a way where it's, maybe it's always been that way, but you talk about it. And it's like, hey, part of what we do now is we go out here and we implement, prayer is part of it, and our arrows have Bible verses on them. I think that's so cool. And it just kind of changes the way you did it. And it was all because a trail camera may not have been working. And at the end of the day, someone had a gut feeling, someone didn't. And the woman's always right in those situations, by the way. Like,
for sure.
I've learned that 100 times. Like, if my wife has a gut feeling about anything, like, I just quit asking questions. I'm like, all right, let's go. I'll doubt it quietly to myself. So that's awesome, man. And then your buck too. That's hearing your story. I feel like every deer story that I have is mostly like your hunting story. Like, it's like, I'm shaking, it's my deer. I love that you said that. Like, it's just one of those deals, dude. It doesn't have to be the biggest one, but I always seem to find something about that hunt that just is it, and it works and it clicks, and it's like, okay, that's the one, let's go. And sometimes they're big, sometimes they're not, but there's always just that little bit of an it factor about the hunt itself. And I'm just like, I'm pulling the trigger, and then we're getting it done today. And, for me, it's always, I again, get into it on my own. The first deer I ever shot was actually, it looks very, very similar to, I've got your picture pulled up behind here on Facebook, Hunter. Very similar to that deer that I got with my bow. And I remember I took it to the locker and had it processed, because it was like September in Iowa and it was really hot. So I wanted to get it done, and it cost me like $115. And I was like a penny pincher hardcore at the time. I'm like, $115 for no more than I got, dude. I'm doing every deer from here on out myself, and got a grinder. But so I get more upset now, less about hunting the deer, but like I get a little bummed out at the end of the season if I don't get to break my grinder out and like go through the whole process in the garage and just do my own meat. So I love that you guys do that too. And it's, I don't know, it's all encompassing, but yeah, the two stories are perfect, I think, in my mind, because you had the big buck story that's got all the back tail, and then you got yours that was like just the perfect situation. I'm going to smack that one and then let the does run away from my wife forever. So
can I give you the best piece of processing advice I could ever give someone?
yeah, man, let's hear it.
Does your wife have a KitchenAid?
Boy, do I have a story for you. Yeah. So, I got chastised on Christmas because I got her one because she's like, she likes to bake. That's kind of like the one type of cooking she really gets in the mood to do. And she's been talking about it forever, just never did it. So this year I'm like, I'm going to surprise her with a KitchenAid. I got her a KitchenAid, and then the whole Christmas, and I hope this isn't offensive. I'm going to chalk it up to pregnancy hormones. Like, she got this thing and she was like talking up and down about how she's going to return it. No, I don't need this and this and that. And I'm like, dang, dude, I thought that was going to be a hit, you know? But yeah, so long story short, she does have a KitchenAid right now, and we convinced her to keep it. And she's made 3 batches, I think, of muffins now and a couple batches of cookies and hasn't broken out of the cupboard yet. So we'll see. We're still working on it. But yes, we have a KitchenAid in the house.
I will tell you, I've had 1/4 horse grinders, 1/2 horse grinders, a 3/4 horse commercial grinder, and they're okay, but they're not great. They're slow. They can get jammed up. They bog down. So my father had a restaurant for years, so I was able to access some meat processing equipment, and I had a gigantic Hobart mixer with a grinding head on it. And that thing was great. I mean, you could put an entire top round in there without cubing it up, and it would grind it when it slowed down. Well, I bought a cheap little, like $39 meat grinder attachment for her KitchenAid. It is the best grinder I've ever used, second only to that Hobart, that giant one. It doesn't bog down. It doesn't slow down. You put it on like setting 2 as fast as you can feed that meat through. I'm pretty much a 2 course grind kind of guy. I want to feed it through on course once, and I want to feed it through on course a second time. I don't mix anything into my burger if I'm not making like sausage or anything. And I will never buy another meat grinder, I don't think.
And it's easy to clean.
It's so much easier to clean.
There's like 4 pieces.
And now it's one less appliance we have in the house. Like, I don't have to go dig the meat grinder out. I just have this small little bag of the grinding head attachment for the front of it. And it just works so much better. It's a good buy. So I recommend that to anyone I talk to now. It is probably the best thing I've done for myself.
Well, heck yeah. Well, hopefully they give you a kickback on sales because they just sold one. That was one of the things on the KitchenAid too, like just looking at all the different things, like all the attachments you can get. And the grinder caught my eye, but I'm kind of like, is it worth it or not? But there we go. I think out of a guy that processes all of his own deer, and he's KitchenAid attachment's the way to go.
I got the cheap Amazon knockoff attachment too. Like, I didn't even get the name brand one.
It is stainless steel one though.
It is stainless. Yes, you want to make sure you get a stainless steel one.
For sure.
And it's also like I can take that whole bag of that grinder head and I just keep it in the freezer. So whenever I'm ready to grind, it's ready to go.
Yeah. So. That is a big tip too. Actually, you mentioned it. So I think I heard that from Meat Eater maybe about keeping your grinder pieces in the freezer. Yeah. That does help a lot. I'm still running the standalone grinder or whatever, but I do take, before I ever process everything, I take it and I just run all the parts in the freezer overnight before I go out and do it the next day. And that seems to make a big difference actually, especially in towards the end when like the grease and stuff kind of starts heating up and all that, and whatever. But yeah, that's a good tip. But in this case, your whole grinder goes in the freezer and you call it a day. Even better.
Oh, and you just throw it in the dishwasher, put it back in the bag, back in the freezer, and I always know where it's at.
All done. Well, that's so cool, guys. Your guys' story, like I said, I think this is my favorite one I've heard so far. No offense to anybody else that's been on this podcast, but the two stories were so perfect to go together, and they tied together the whole way. And then having you two on as a couple was really cool too. I just first time ever doing it, but I loved how you guys went back and forth. And if you guys we just switched our hosting service. So this one has an ability to like launch video to YouTube. The other one didn't automatically. I would have to like launch two separate things. So anyway, long story short, this may end up on YouTube with a video. I'm not sure. But if it does not, like the other ones have not, just getting to watch you guys interact together was one of the coolest things I think I've seen. Like the looks you guys give each other when you guys are telling stories is awesome. You guys are clearly made for each other. So props to you. High five. That's a pat on the back for you guys. I love watching you guys and kind of how you guys are working together there with the stories and all that, man. Yeah, and the life advice you guys had to offer too. I think this one added a little bit more value to the punch than most of the other episodes too, if I'm just being honest about it. So, no, I've appreciated having you guys on, and you guys are clearly killers too. So I think there's going to be more stories in the future that you guys can easily come back on and tell, whether you want to do it together or separate. Either way, we'd love to have you. But the one thing I ask everybody when they're on this podcast to close it out is leave us with something good. You guys have left us a ton of good stuff in the podcast. If you want to close it out and call it a day, please tell me. But if not, I'd love to hear something from either one of you that you just think the world needs to hear right now to leave the world a better place.
Put God first.
In front of everything.
Put your family second. I mean.
And then hunting third.
And
I love it.
Really.
That's what it is. I mean, we're so blessed in everything we do.
Yeah.
And it's all possible because of him. And I can't say it enough. I will forever honor any deer I get in his name.
So just a little short thing. Neither one of us were saved when we got together.
Mm-mm.
We got saved a few months apart, and then we got baptized together, and we started putting God first in our marriage, our family, our hobbies, and it's by far changed our whole life.
I'm so blessed. I still have a amazing group of friends that I've had since high school. We still hunt together. We get together every Thursday, and some people in that group have needed some help, and they have went to God, and one of them's getting the professional help he needs right now, and we can't wait to be there for him as soon as we get another chance. And another one got saved this past weekend, and it just seems like the more we honor him and put him first in everything we do, just the better everything keeps getting. And that's the best advice I think I could give anybody. It doesn't matter what you're going through or what you're worried about. He has the answers.
I love it, man. Yeah.
Like, you think you have to stop or put God first and quit doing other things, but like you don't. You just bring him with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put him in the blind.
Put him in the blind and the empty chair.
Put him in the blind. Just bring a chair. Bring an extra chair for him with you, and you'll be all set. I think that's pretty cool though. Like,
made.
She told me to try taking Jesus with me, and I'm like, I'm hunting out of a saddle. So I'm in this tree, and I'm like, I guess he's on that log over there. I'm up
that's
here,
right.
he's
Yeah,
sitting
you
on
find
that log. And Jesus walked behind me because I looked behind me because I'm not so sure they're not going to skirt around me here. I'm a little further up because of the wind than I wanted to be.
Yeah, that's a little bit trickier. Jesus in a saddle.
This has it's honestly been very fun to get to sit down and do this. It's great. You're a great interviewer, great at asking good questions and keeping the topics. And this was the funnest thing we've done in a little while. This is honestly, it's got to be like a little date night for us.
That's awesome, dude. I was gonna suggest it, but if anyone else has any, if they're looking for a date night idea, I'm on the Prayin and Slayin Podcast, and we'll make this a thing. So, no, I appreciate the kind words, brother. It means a lot. It's kind of one of those wild things that God put on my heart a long time ago to do, and I've just never really known exactly quite how to get it off the ground. And then one day I just said, you know what, I just got to do it. So we've been plugging away episode after episode, and it's been evolving like to everything you said. It's one of those things, you give it the space it needs, or you give that extra chair in the room for him just to work on it, and it just starts flowering out into something you just never really thought it would do. And it's kind of, we just wrapped up our first year. 2025 was my first year doing it like start to finish, January through December, and This is part of year 2, 2026, and it's at this point in time, it feels like it's got an actual vision behind it, which is really cool. So, yeah, just plugging away on it, and you guys are part of that story, man. So we love having you, and this has been awesome. And like I said, one of my favorite interviews.
Glad that we get to be part of it.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I'll let you guys get back to it. Thank you again for coming on, and we'll make sure we have you guys. If you guys ever have a hunting story to share, make sure you send it to my messenger or wherever we can find it, and we'll make sure you guys get back on here. And if you need a date night, just let me know. We'll get you on. We'll talk something about hunting and life. We'll do it.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good one. We'll see you.
You too.
Bye.
Well, there you have it, guys. That was an awesome double episode. Our first ever husband-wife episode, and 2 guest episode too, with Megan and Hunter Alsip. What an awesome couple, man. And you guys obviously listen to the audio is one thing, but getting to watch these two interact with each other was something really special. You can tell they have a huge amount of love for each other, obviously, as a husband and wife, and the amount of respect that they have for each other is just outstanding and just radiates through the computer screen here as I sit here and record. And man, just an awesome opportunity. It was one thing to have one guest on. I didn't know what to think about having 2 guests, but this was great and way better than I asked for. And like I said several times in the episode, I think this is one of my favorite episodes. Just so special to watch these two connect and almost have a little date night on the Prayin and Slayin Podcast. So what a cool opportunity. When we started the podcast, I never would have guessed someone would have told me that the podcast was like a date for them. So that was cool and a special piece of feedback. There's something good, man. Put God first. I don't think there's anything more important in life on a day-to-day basis to just reflect on is to wake up. And if you can do anything right during the day, sometimes I say the first thing you should do is make your bed. I think the first thing you should do is make your bed for the rest of the day that you're going to lay in, and reflect on and ask God, what can I do to glorify you today? What can I do through whatever I have coming up, whatever my meetings are, whatever my work schedule is, if I'm going hunting in the field, whatever it is, like how can God show me in those moments how I can serve you and serve the people around me. And I think that's just such a valuable piece of advice. And there's going to be a little bit longer verse of the day today. It's Matthew 6. Let's see here. Matthew 6, 25 through 33 that talks about this. And it says, "That's why I tell you not to worry about everyday life, whether you have enough food and drink or enough clothes to wear. Isn't life more than food and your body more than clothing? Look at the birds. They don't plant or harvest or store food in barns, for your heavenly Father feeds them. And aren't you more valuable to him than they are? Can all your worries add a single moment to your life? And why worry about your clothing? Look at the lilies of the field and how they grow. They don't work or make their clothing, yet Solomon in all of his glory was not dressed as beautifully as they are. And if God cares so wonderfully for the wildflowers, that they are here today and thrown into the fire tomorrow, he will certainly care for you. Why do you have so little faith? So don't worry about these things, saying, what will we eat? What will we drink? What will we wear? These things dominate the thoughts of unbelievers, but your heavenly Father already knows all of your needs. Seek the kingdom of God above all else, live righteously, and he will give you everything you need." Man, I don't know if there's a better passage, and again, putting God first, a better opportunity for something good here. And just today's crazy day and age, man, with inflation and all the crazy stuff and the wars going on, driving gas prices through the roof, and all the things we can't control, arguably can't control if we get involved in the local communities. Maybe we can start controlling that a little bit more as Americans, but that's another point for another podcast. But yeah, man, there's just so many things that feel so out of control when at the end of the day, all God asks for us to do is just put him first. Open your eyes, say, God, I'm here today. Thank you for giving me another day. Walk out into the world, and each moment of your life and each opportunity that comes across your path that day, ask God to show you how you can serve and be a part of his kingdom in each of those moments. And he literally tells us that he'll give us the rest. And we don't have to think about it. We spend so much time worrying. We're constantly consumed with stress and everything else in our lives. And all we have to do is, I think it was Megan in the podcast said, just in the hunting blind, pull up a chair and act like Jesus is sitting there in the blind with you, and just talk to God constantly, pray constantly. The Bible tells us that too. And let your worries melt off your shoulders. Let your shoulders drop a little bit and go confidently into the world, knowing that God leads the way and he's given you everything you need to be successful in whatever he has planned for you. And he'll make your endeavors, he'll make your path straight on whatever endeavors you're trying to chase. So with that, guys, I'm going to leave you to it. Go do something awesome for somebody today. Go check out our partners, Dead Nuts Outdoors. If mobile hunting season's coming up, go check out the knee bags on prayinandslayin.com. Use code PRAYIN10 across the board at Dead Nuts Outdoors, Puck Outdoors, and at prayinandslayin.com for 10% off or free shipping, depending on the site, on all those orders, and support our mission. We have the License to Kill initiative here, where we sponsor veteran hunting and fishing licenses across the country to just help those guys and gals who've served our country, let the food on their table go further, and we serve them by providing sponsorships for their hunting licenses for the year to make sure that they're able to eat and able to get out and do something that reconnects them and regrounds them to the realities of the civilian side when they've seen so much brutality on the warfighting side. And I'm a huge believer in that. So guys, if you support us and you support those partners, use code PRAYIN10 across the board, and you also support the License to Kill initiative. We couldn't do this without you. Go do something awesome for somebody, guys. Put God first, family second, and obviously hunt third. And with that, guys, keep praying and slaying.